What is happening? Turbo Toys here. But you can call me Tursky today! Boys, if I may start off with a quote, and that quote is that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And to be honest, we're probably going to be taking some shots to the mouth today with this Mike Tyson bootleg Storm Collectibles action figure. Now, I was talking to someone a couple of years ago and how they wanted me to make them a D-Generation X version of I Am Mike Tyson using WWE Mattel parts. And I only knew of the Mike Tyson figure from the Jakks Pacific Rocky figure line, but it was from the wrong era. So, doing a bit of research on Tyson figures, I see that Storm Collectibles had a perfect scaled version where it had the same size head scan that I needed. And plus, I wanted to make a Mike Tyson boxing custom for myself, which you would have already seen the video earlier on in the channel. So to get scaled versions of both the gloves and the boxing titles was a must, and I knew that being from the UK, it was going to be hard to get this figure at a decent price, knowing that it was probably going to come from the US. And then, boys, when I was just about to give up, I struck gold on eBay with this bootleg version. So, did I get ripped off or did I get what I need? Come take a look and judge for yourselves. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you'll never miss out on future reviews and videos. Just like this. Now, boys, I don't have the original figure to compare this to, but as it sits in the packaging, it looks like I have everything I need from this figure. Now, as for the box, from the untrained eye, it could completely catch you off guard. It's the kind of collectible that your nan might buy, you're not knowing that it's a fake. It has the restricted age logo, plus the Mike Tyson action figure and Storm Collectible logos. And on top of the box, compared to the official one, this one has full cardboard, whereas the official figure's box has a see-through plastic. Both sides of the box display Mike Tyson and a shot of the official figure, so I guess this is probably the best way to compare it to the Storm Collectibles version. And then we can see they continue to use the Storm Collectibles logo on the side of the box as well. Now the back of the box shows an image of the figure again with the titles plus all the other items you get in the box. And that includes 3 interchanging head sculpts, the Everlast boxing gloves, the Everlast boxing trunks, and of course the WBC, the WBA and the IBF Championship title belts. And then it has a short little bio saying that Mike Tyson is the baddest man on earth. Now I thought this was a misprint because I thought he was known as the baddest man on the planet. I thought that was the saying. It goes on to say that he is the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world and holds the record as the youngest boxer to win the WBC, the WBA and the IBF heavyweight titles at the age of 20. Tyson won his first 19 professional bouts by knockout. 12 of them come from the first round. Now, for someone that young to accomplish something like that is just truly amazing. And in my opinion, I must say that the company that made this bootleg did an outstanding job at replicating the packaging. So as we start to take this Knockout King out of his packaging and look at every single accessory that he comes with, I must say that the artwork that comes in this box as the background is a fantastic picture of Tyson. It's got all 3 championship titles and I'm almost 100% sure that it's the same image that you get with the official Storm Collectibles figure. So as we move on to the figure now, I'm not going to lie boys, on first appearance I think it looks very cheap and the proportion of the body looks really off, as well as the skin tones don't match up consistently throughout the whole body. And as I try and adjust his legs boys, his leg falls off. What? But that seems to be the theme of this figure. As I took him out and I started to pose, like his feet fell off, his joints are all loose, and I think that's just the way it's going to be with this figure. So the easiest way to put his leg back on is you've got to take his shorts off, so you can put the peg back in the leg, and in doing so I noticed that you can actually do the Shawn Michaels pose for the ladies. Aye, aye! So as we start to take a look at the figure with the 3 head scans, now I'd say the first one that actually comes on the figure is the best, but it also includes a couple of different expressive head scans, and it's always nice to have a choice, and all 3 scans have the same hairstyle that Mike Tyson had, including the shaved line in the hairstyle, and overall the scans don't have the shading you'd expect from a Storm Collectibles figure, but nonetheless, like, these ain't bad. They're a big reason why I got this figure, and I wanted to cast the scans, so every outcome that I've done I'm completely over the moon with. And as we move on to his torso, now it's a very different mould to what is on the actual Storm Collectibles figure. Now I don't think the neck is meant to be that big, and it's not as defined as it should be, and the chest, it's a different colour to the rest of the tones on the body. And the ab section on this figure is so different compared to the real version, which makes me wonder what this was moulded off of, because compared to the original one, this is so different. Now the arms in comparison ain't too bad. It has that butterfly joint, and the shoulders does have some vein lines like the original one, but I must say that the plastic does look really cheap on this figure. But it does have the nice inclusion of his early tattoo work before he got it all covered over. Now boys, moving on to the gloves. Now this was another reason for buying this figure. They scaled up really nice for the project I wanted to use them for. It's got a really nice application of the Everlast logo on them, and honestly I really do like the sculpt on these gloves. Now I must admit, I really like the idea of the cloth boxing trunks. It's given me so many good customising ideas that I want to try and achieve in the future. But in comparison to the original Storm Collectibles figure, these look like a knockoff pair that one of them dodgy men would try and sell you and try and tell you that they're ring worn. The Everlast logo on the waistband don't look as good, and to be honest, neither do the logos on each side of the shorts. Now the legs ain't too bad, but the finish again looks really cheap. And I think that what it is that the overall skin tone needs a more matte finish, but being that this is a bootleg figure, that could be forgiven. And then he's got his short black boots with the lace-up design, and genuinely, I really like the detail. Now as we take a look at his accessories, he comes with a really prestigious boxing championships, which include the WBC, the World Boxing Council Championship, which he held twice in his career, and also the WBA, the World Boxing Association Championship title belt, which he also held twice in his career. Now this one I would have liked to see the red trim top and bottom. I think that would have made it look class. And then last but not least is the IBF, the International Boxing Federation Championship title belt, and again the accessories of these boxing titles was a massive part of me purchasing this figure. And being that this is one of the first times of holding a figure based off of Storm Collectibles, I'd actually like to go through the articulation. You might have to bear with me for this one. Right, so as we can see here, the head sculpt is actually on a ball joint. And the great thing about that is that you will get all the range of motion that you need from side to side, front to back, up and down, and of course, the full 360. This figure does have the butterfly joint, and of course it does have the hinge on the shoulder. This also allows you to do a full 360 rotation of his arm. He has the upper bicep rotation, and you will be able to move his arm up this much. He also has the double hinge in the elbow, which is nice for posability. And he even has that wrist swivel so you can rotate the gloves and pose them how you need to pose them. Now as we move on to the torso section, now I like the idea of an abdomen swivel, but I'm not sure if they pulled it off on this one. I mean it works fine on it, but I'm just not 100% sold on the look. And I wouldn't say it's got a great range of back and forth movement, but at least it is still included. He also has the waist swivel as well, so if you're doing punches shots, it's really good. Oh man. Right, so it's probably the best time to actually show you the leg. Right, so what it is, it has the hinge as well as the swivel. I'm getting a bit sidetracked, boys, because the other leg has actually fallen off as well. It's a great figure, this. Alright, so reattaching both of the legs. Now, I'm going to leave the shorts off for this one, but we can see that he has got the double joints on the knee. And it gives you this range of motion, so you can move the knees back that far. He does have a full 360 ankle rotation at the top of the boot, as well as an ankle hinge that gives you another full 360 turn. And then to finish off the articulation on this figure, he does have the toe hinge. Yeah, so like I said before, the reason for getting this figure was to make a couple of customs, including the D-Generation X version of Mike Tyson from his time in WWE. And this is based off the appearance at WrestleMania 14, where he was the special guest enforcer outside the ring for the Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels Heavyweight Championship match. And of course I've modded the hair and added the tattoos. And this is the third time that I've actually done this figure, and I used a moulded t-shirt on the previous two. So if you want to see the previous versions, or you're interested in maybe seeing another one down the road, then be sure to check me out on Instagram at Turbo Toys. And then of course if you fancy checking this one out, you can see the review of one of my earlier videos. So this is a kind of Storm Collectibles tribute figure, but made up of Mattel parts, and of course you can see my custom championship titles. And everything you see here is moulded off the bootleg version. And speaking of the bootleg version, would I recommend this figure? The simple answer to this one would be no. Because it's terrible. Like, if you're looking for a collectible that you want to proudly display, then pay that little bit extra and get something you can be really proud of. But if you're just looking for a figure to further any custom projects, then maybe consider this one. And honestly, boys, it falls apart if you even look at it, and it basically looks terrible, but that's what I quite like about it, and I call it that bootleg charm, where it's so bad, it's so good at the same time. Like watching back some Tyson fights even to this day, and I still get excited to see them. But what I want to know, boys, is do you have any favourite matches? Let me know in the comments below. Because personally, I really loved it when he became WBC champion in 1986, making his intentions clear that he wanted to unify the titles. And of course his fight against Michael Sphinx that lasted 91 seconds. And also, boys, what did you think of this bootleg? And do you have any bootleg figures that you're actually proud of? Is there any bootleg figures that you recommend getting over the official releases? Tell me all in the comments. But from the baddest man on the planet, that's going to do it for this one today, so don't forget to drop a like and drop a subscribe like you're Mike Tyson hitting one of his opponents by way of TKO. Come check me out on Instagram at Turbo Toys, and until the next video, boys, I will see ya when I see ya.